we can get started in our first ever MAGIP Zoom board meeting. Thanks to Jeff for setting us up.
Yeah, and so these are automatically set up to record as well. It's all. I plan on getting those up to YouTube when the meeting's over. So.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. So cool. Thank you, Jeff. That is awesome. You were the best. So we blocked off 2 to 5 today. I know that's a lot, and I'm hoping we don't go that long. I mean, maybe we can even wrap up in that 4 o'clock range. This is kind of our quarterly. This is meant to be, I believe, like a quarterly meeting where we kind of cover some bigger topics. Typically, we have this meeting kind of in conjunction with the conference, but considering we didn't have a in-person conference, it wasn't critical that we held it at the same time. Give us a little break before this. So again, I know everybody's super busy right now, so just try to be as mindful as we can of everybody's time, and just let me know if you need to jump off. I know, Heather, you mentioned you need to jump off early as well. Is that correct still?
I think I can stick around.
Okay.
I'll let everybody know if I need someone to start taking notes.
Cool.
And Mike, I have to hop off at 3, but I think that you'll be done. I mean, I don't think there's anything you'll need from me after that, but just know that I have to hop up at 3 as well.
I also have to be off a little after 3 as well.
Okay. We'll try to get through the new business here. I'm not sure if any of this is going to necessarily require a vote, but there's a lot of good discussion stuff here. And I know Jeremy, I know you have was it the report fiscal year? Maybe I'm remembering here, but is Jeremy on?
Yeah, I'm on. The big thing is going to be the approval of the budget.
Yeah.
So that will probably require, that will require a vote.
Well, maybe we should do that. We'll quickly, yeah, that's like probably the number 1 item. We'll take a quick look at the March 16th meeting minutes here, and then we might just move right into the treasurer section here, so everybody can hear and see that, and we can get it approved. Has everybody had a chance to review our March meeting minutes? Any questions, comments, concerns? All right, maybe somebody'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the March minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. All right. March meeting minutes have been approved. All right, with that, we're going to jump right to the budget and the treasurer's report. Jeremy, would you like me to share, or do you prefer to have the wheel? If there's anything you want to discuss on it.
Actually, since you're already in the drive, if you don't mind, we might as well go to it from there.
Not at all.
Perfect. Thank you. So it's going to be hanging out in, make sure I'm in the right spot, in the treasurer folder and in budget. And yep, you got it. And it will be the one that's right at the top.
Oop. Somebody trying to get in.
All right, so this is essentially the first round draft budget with a couple of minor changes. Some of those have been totals as they were seen about 2 weeks ago, actual costs for 2020 into 2021. or more so the last couple months of 2021. The big actions that were taken before this meeting, one of them was to renew insurance with ULCI. That will be our board coverage insurance as well as some event coverage for our meetups. That was approved, so that is included in that. And just as a note as well, our taxes have been taken care of, so that's another thing that is not outstanding but has been completed. So that is another piece that I will suggest as being part of this budget in the future. With that, you can see where on the last part with 21 into 2022 budget, there is obviously not an actual yet in that second column, but that first column is the costs that are associated with each of those line items. This is the full sheet that we're seeing right now, the full budget in every category. It does break into individual categories down below, but effectively that's the same sheet just broken up. What I have done was on items that we budgeted in 2020 for a full quote unquote normal year, I've pulled those costs over into 21 to 22. Things that we could anticipate probably being business as normal costs. Conversely, with the, for lack of a better term, profit that we have up above, worst case scenario, applied the 2019 costs in some cases, or if not, going back to the 2020 to be, again, reflective of more normal year. So that's where a lot of those costs are being pulled from. Because the year is now broken up into a 6 month cycle, basically from July 1st until June 30th of the next year, some interesting things happen, but for the most part, after this spring, and certainly after June 30th this year, we'll get back to more of a yearly annual cost, just distributed in different times of the year. So that's what that looks like. Much like years previous, I believe in 2020 with the anticipated cost, I tried to get our anticipated end of the year into the positive by about $900 to $1,000. I did the same this time as well. Obviously last year was a little bit of a curveball, but this would be in a normal year, again, anticipated proposed. So that is what you were seeing.
Does anybody have any questions for Jeremy?
Just a note too, this does include full scholarships and full grants, as suggested, I think 2 meetings ago. I do recommend that continue. It does also include the $1,000 refund last year being reapplied to that same student this year. So it is a little bit more this next season. Again, we'll probably stabilize unless something like that were to occur in the future. So it does account for that. As well as I said, the approval of coverage, board coverage, going into the next year as well.
This looks great, Jeremy.
Thank you. Thank you. There's a bit going on here. Would be happy to discuss. I guess in this meeting we do need to approve a budget, but we can come back to this later in the meeting if we need to if people come up with questions. But this is where it sits.
Hey, Jeremy, so I guess the half year is to account for the bylaw change, right? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So then our budget would be more in line with fiscal year instead of the year. Is that how it was before?
Yeah, it is closer to that, yes. Before it was the January to December, and we did shift that. What that does do is a couple of these costs, you can see there's the NA to the first half of 2022, or 21 rather. There are some costs that don't come out until after our budget would start. So we kind of end up in this interesting territory where a whole bunch of those costs are going to be zero. But for the entire calendar year, they most certainly are not zero, but they don't really come out until later in the summer or fall. I know that some of our web domain costs are that way. So as you can see there as well. FNFA is a big one.
Well, I know, Jeremy, you've shared this with us for a while now, a little while. Does anybody have any concerns? Everybody feel comfortable making a vote on this now?
Yeah, it looks good.
We wouldn't technically have to make a vote on this today because it doesn't actually start until July 1. So we do have time if we needed to hold off and do it next month.
Yeah,
the idea was so that we could kind of present it at the annual meeting, but then have a couple months to look at it in case we needed it before it actually took effect.
Hey, so Jeremy, I got a question for you. Maybe this is more of a question for Michelle. How did the conference budget kind of unfold? Because I know there was still some pending stuff out there, and I was just kind of curious of what the difference was when, like, you kind of take out the hotel expenses and you kind of plug in the virtual expenses, and kind of how that all shook out.
It hasn't changed. I haven't changed it at all since I sent you guys the draft. I still think there's 3 outstanding invoices, maybe a couple of refunds, but it's still showing a bottom line of about 13,000 to the positive.
Woohoo!
This is accurate right here, correct?
I'm not sure, Jeremy, what those. This is the first time I'm looking at this, so I apologize because I have a different separate budget, but.
For sure. So what you're looking at right there, Michael, is the 21 to 22 presumptive projection costs, and those are based off of actually 2019.
So here's
yeah, there you go with that. Yep. And that is a couple of weeks old. Michelle and I are going to sit down and reconcile a bit of that, but as she said, that's for the most part exactly what you're seeing right there.
I was going to say, I think we should wait until we have actual conference numbers and then take a vote.
I would recommend that as well. Especially, Jenny, you're mentioning that this does not actually technically take place until July. This would be our final budget. There wouldn't be another draft one, but I think that a vote on that could certainly wait. And it would be a good idea given the circumstances, I think, with the conference as well.
I mean, when we were doing it before, you had it prepared in November, and we reviewed it in November and December, and I think voted on it in January after it actually had officially taken place. So I even kind of feel like we're ahead of the game here.
That's actually a good point. We would not vote on it until technically it was already the month of it having started. So given that, we can certainly wait.
And I guess I do have one question too. Did we end up owing any expenses to the Holiday Inn, or did we just push all those to the next budget essentially?
They got. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but I'm pretty sure we got them pushed to as long as we go to their hotel next year.
Right.
Thank
there
you,
was
Michelle.
there was no financial liability as long as we committed to booking it there for the next year.
Yeah, that was a caveat.
That's nice of them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They were really flexible. It was good.
Yeah, I noted that as well in there.
We actually had a really heated meeting with them, and Jeremy threw down the gauntlet. And
Jeremy laid down the law because he's so aggressive.
Spend it all there. You'll never see it again. Right? Had to be there. But yes, that is correct. And we are very fortunate in that regard.
Yeah, they were actually I thought they were pretty good to work with. You know, we had a few discussions with them latter part of last year. So
yeah, holding it out for 2 years is really fortunate. I think that is a sign that maybe we should do business with them again, given the opportunity. But in any case, they were very kind to us.
Yep. Yeah, just hopefully next year holds out for us. I think we're in a good spot though. Thank you very much, Jeremy. This is incredibly detailed. I can't recall previous years, but this is good. Encourage everybody to take a closer look at it when they have a chance. And thank you, Jenny, for clarifying when we need to have this approved.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jenny. One last note I do want to mention outside of that budget is where we're sitting at right now with checking and savings. It'd probably be a good idea to mention that. So this is after Eric Pimpler was given his check, and this is most of the significantly smaller checks involved with the poster prize. Right now in the checking account, we're sitting at $26,406.20. In savings, we're at $27,539.74, just to give you an idea of what those look like. I will be conducting one large one-time transfer from the checking to the savings account, just so we don't start getting a tax applied to that checking money. It'll hang out in our savings account instead, and I will do that today. In any case, that's where we're sitting with the Treasury.
Thank you, Jeremy.
No problem. Thank you, Michael.
You got put on the spot early, and
To the plate.
with this kind of stuff, the sooner the better. No worries.
Okay, I guess we can move on. I know we have a meeting tomorrow for the conference debrief. And I can't recall if that was Michelle or Phoebe who set that up, or if that went to the whole planning committee, but is there anything just board-wise, Michelle, that would be worth mentioning? We already looked at the kind of the preliminary numbers here as far as revenue, but is there anything else that just real quickly you wanted to mention to the board, or?
No, I don't think so. That debrief vote did go to the whole planning committee for tomorrow. The only thing I would note, and Jeremy, this will be good for you to know as well, is Phoebe and I did purchase, because there were 70 presenters and co-presenters, we did purchase the just $5 coffee cards, and I emailed, those went out in an e-card, like an e-gift today to all the presenters. I think we had budgeted, we had a line item for 500, I think. Anyways, it was $345 total. So it was 70 presenters at $5 a piece. So those went out today. And then Phoebe sent a thank you card, like a handwritten thank you card and a gift card to Missoula Downtown to Dr. Wilson. So those two things did happen, and you guys had approved those, but just so you know, those did happen. And Jeremy, I'll add the gift cards to our invoice.
Sounds good. Thanks, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, and I just really wanted to thank you again, Michelle and Phoebe, for everything that you did these past several months, and of course everybody on the board definitely did their part here. So it seems like the conference was a pretty good success. Thank you, everybody. That was pretty awesome.
I've heard lots of good comments. People enjoyed it. They liked the platform.
Yeah, I got a lot of follow-up emails too. And, for a virtual conference and the first time, I think people were very flexible and forgiving, and overall, really good comments. Yeah.
Great work. And I'm really sorry, Heather. I totally forgot to do a roll call.
Okay, I think I got everybody.
Yeah.
From the participants list.
Okay.
I think we're just missing Rob and Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Rob and no Eric. Unless they're here and not showing up on the participants list. Are you there, Rob and Eric?
The only other thing I'll say is, and maybe Jeff can help with this, I created a survey and did distribute it, and I was going to send reminders out for that. But I can't access it now because when I try to log in, it's not letting me. So I don't know. Anyway, I guess I'm not sure how many responses we've gotten on the survey because now I can't get back into it.
Is it SurveyMonkey?
Oh, sorry. I didn't see that down there. We're going to talk about it later, it looks like. Yes, it was through SurveyMonkey.
Yeah, I'm in it right now there, Michelle. It looks like you have 8 responses.
Okay, I'll send another reminder out. I should still be able to have the link from my original email, but for some reason I can't get, or when I try to get back into SurveyMonkey, it says there's too many devices being used or something, so I can't get in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did that go out to every
People logged
attendee?
into it?
It went to every attendee and to exhibitors, Michael. Yeah, I just did the regular login, and it says there's, I have to add my device in order to get in, and so it's telling me I would have to remove somebody else's device.
Yeah, that's
So
that's standard.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to remove somebody's device, so I just got it back out of it.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I can just go ahead and remove somebody's?
I
Yeah.
didn't see that
Okay.
survey
It's
come in.
probably Brian Anderson had to boot somebody because he was using it.
I gotcha. Okay. I'll
Yeah,
send another reminder.
and I'm logged in right now, and I've been kind of intermittently logged in checking on the salary survey. So.
Well, that's a bummer that we've only gotten 8 responses.
Well,
I don't even remember getting it, so it's probably a good idea.
I didn't
Yeah, I
get
don't-
it either.
yeah, I
You
don't
didn't?
see it in my inbox.
Sorry,
Okay, well that is weird. It was a conference survey,
Oh, yeah.
and I sent it. Okay. Well, 8 people got it somehow,
Yeah.
and it would have come from me, like my email address.
Like Michelle Quint.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Michelle.Quinn12.
I could have missed it because we had a lot of flying emails there for
Yeah,
a bit.
that was a lot.
Yes, while we're talking, I'll see if I can just find the date so you know.
Okay. All right, well, we'll just put a pin in that until tomorrow. Talk more about the conference.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say one thing. I kind of feel bad for the exhibitors. I mean, Michael, you probably experienced this. I mean, the networking also took a hit. Workshops took a hit a little bit. But overall, I liked the experience. I mean, I liked the ability to go back and rewatch these presentations. But yeah, the interaction with the exhibitors was different, and it was sometimes hard to get a hold of them. And I'm sure it was vice versa for them. It was, I mean, I just don't. I don't know if not all the exhibitors kind of got the exhibitor hall thing, because there was some functionalities in there that would have been neat if fully taken advantage of. But
Yeah,
it is what it is, though.
Yeah, I was going to say it is unfortunate because I feel like they had all the tools and resources to utilize. And I feel like I had a lot of communications with them and sent them the video to watch on how to use the system and how to maximize their experience. So I agree with you. I don't feel like they used it to the full potential, but I'm not sure what else we could have done.
Yeah, and they could also embedded a Zoom link, and then they could have just been hanging out at essentially a Zoom room the entire time. So that would have been an option, because I did overhear some conversations, just because when you try to join live, if you don't have your camera on, you can still kind of hear people in the background. And I was in the Esri booth and kind of overheard some people talking that they really would have liked to get a hold of somebody. So I think a lot of people probably missed that interaction with what they would have typically had with their exhibitors. So
Yeah, I know that is a bummer. And the networking, like you said, it's just hard to do in a virtual environment, I guess.
Well, I liked how you could kind of dress up the thing, and we had our brochure in there, and I had a video. I mean, I saw people in there. I don't know, for what it was without the in-person thing. I actually wasn't too. I wouldn't say disappointed. I know some of the exhibitors, it's just, I think it was just doing it to sponsor the conference. Like, I don't even think Esri was.
Yeah.
Because Jan didn't even know I was talking to Jan. And she's like, did you get our sponsorship? Like, I was like, yeah. And I mean, so I don't know. I'm sure some of them maybe are disappointed, but
yeah. Well, I talked to Ken Wall too, and just like you said, he kind of just did for the support that he wanted to give to MAGIP. So it was kind of just his support to the community.
I think it's like a lot of other things this year. We have learned and used so many different platforms and new software and apps and this and that, and I don't know that at this point that we're using any of them well or to their potential. It was bad enough before, but now it's like every time you turn around, somebody's got a new better idea, and
yeah,
It's information overload for sure.
it absolutely is.
Yeah.
So I hate to curtail this. This is a good discussion, but since we have a meeting tomorrow about this, I want to kind of move down the list. And Kenny, you were saying, I totally dropped the ball here too. You said you need to leave early as well today. Is that right?
Well, I can stay around a little bit past 3. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. I just don't want to.
Yeah, no sweat, no sweat.
Okay. We'll just keep moving down the new business here. So the other thing I wanted to share with you all, it's related to the conference, but not, is the summit documentation, or at least what we put together during the summit. So I have a PDF. I uploaded it to our drive. For those of you who weren't there, we use this platform called Mural, where folks could kind of put notes down for each of these topics. Big Sky Geocon. I'm going to go back into the web.
Thank you for making that fun, by the way.
I hope it worked okay. It was definitely weird. It didn't feel like, gosh darn it, where am I?
No, instead of in person, I think it was a good alternative. So good job.
Thank you. So there's definitely some good stuff in here. Gosh darn it, I lost my thing. This is kind of harder to. On bylaws, MAGIP support, the GISP stuff. There's a lot of good notes in here. Obviously, we have this documented, but so a couple questions I had, and I'll share the link with everybody, is I can work on getting this digitized in a little bit cleaner manner. If we think if we want to do that, I can certainly work on that, or we can kind of use this as a tool. I do want to take some time here and look at this, but there's a lot to sift through. So what I may do is just share this with everybody again, the PDF. We can circulate to the membership as well. I'm not sure if that's needed, but does anybody have any thoughts on how to move forward with this? Like Blabber?
I was pretty happy with the turnout. There was quite a few people on the call, so.
We did hear some big ones. So the concept was, we'd want more important items towards the center, which somebody decided to put their goods right smack dab in the middle. But if you don't look at the images, there's some key items here. MLIAC rep voting member. That was something that came up, and I think we need to make as an action item, or at least to discuss it more as a board, to kind of reinstate those voting privileges, or not reinstate, but more so just clarify. Because as Jenny said during the summit, it just really wasn't defined well, and I think we have an opportunity to do that and get voting privileges back for that MLIAC member, and try to promote more MLIAC collaboration. There's a couple other items. There's another item that further down on our agenda that Aaron Fashway brought up during the MLAC meeting during the conference about revamping GIS best practices, and she mentioned a willingness to have MAGIP involved in that again, and I believe it was MAGIP that initially put it together many years ago. So I think we have another opportunity there to foster our relationship with MLIAC. as well. Any thoughts on that one?
I guess I'm going to throw this out there. I don't understand why, and nobody has said to me why, MLEAC needs to have their own vote on our board.
But why not?
I mean, if somebody else, Marls or somebody else comes in and they want to have some, have some say on our
Well,
board, are we going to let them?
MLEAC and Miles, I may be wrong here, but they're different types of. I mean, this is a governor-appointed council. Marls is like MAGIP. At least that's what I think. I mean, we have them on the board, a board member. They're listed on our website. I'm of the opinion that they should also have voting privileges. But that's a good point, Jenny. I mean,
they've got a lot of representation. A lot of the people that are on MLEAC already are members and have a vote, have represent. I mean, they're more than welcome to come, and we're trying to work with them and give them a voice and consider their opinions. And the reason Catherine stepped down was because she felt that MLIA might have a view that would contradict the view of her employer, who allowed her, and the reason she was represented on the MLAC board.
It is kind of a, yeah. This is Steve. It is kind of a sticky wicket, I think, as well. I tend to kind of agree with Jenny. I don't really see why they would need a vote on the board, other than the state wanting to maybe have some influence on our decisions. I personally don't have a problem with that, but yeah, I guess I would like to see maybe some justification from MLEAC as to why they feel entitled to having a vote on this board. They're not elected by the MAGIP membership or anything like that.
That was another point that came up too. And just, I don't want to throw Catherine under the bus, because I really appreciated her input on this, but I'm going to just say it. This was kind of led by her as the MLEAC representative.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I'm going to probably add to this, I mean, I'm probably leaning towards, giving them a voice, giving them a vote. And it's not like they're controlling, it's not like they have like a half of.
One vote's not going to make that much difference typically.
Yeah, one's not. But I think what it does though is it kind of just opens up, fostering that relationship with MLEAC, gives them a slice of the pie, a voice on our board, and I think, I think there was some unintended consequences with that bylaw change, and you kind of saw it with a few of the council members where it kind of just shut that door a little bit. And I think our relationship with MLEAC's been good over the years, but I think this past year it's kind of been silent, and not having a rep for so long, that was part of it. And I did have to persuade Eric to be that.
And that was the other thing as well. I mean, when Catherine took it, it had been vacant for a long time.
Yeah.
So they weren't really, in my mind, that interested in having that vote at that time, even though it was questionable whether they did or didn't.
Well,
and then I kind of pushed it to say we need an MLEAC rep on our board. It says that. Then they kind of passed it around. Who wants to do it? Nobody did it, and Catherine stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
I think Eric joined us. Eric, I think he did. Hate to put you on the spot, Eric, but do you have any thoughts, MLEAC side? you can hear me. I don't know, Eric.
We're trying to ostracize anybody or anything like that. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the relationship is the same as it's always been.
Can you guys see Eric? Is he on the video feed or not?
He may have. He's on as a participant, but he's muted. May have had to step away. He may be at work.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a sensitive topic, and I don't think we need to come to a decision now, but I think it will be important that we start talking about this a little bit more, and we obviously have some different viewpoints on it. But good to get the discussion going again. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that, or any of the other
hi
items?
guys, I'm sorry. I had a customer in here. I was helping with some address questions. So that's what happens when you work from your office instead of being at home.
I know the feeling.
So I kind of overheard. I was half listening, half as I was writing down the information. Jeff probably has a better understanding of what's going on. I really don't have much opinion, comment one way or the other from MLIAC regarding that whole bylaw change. I wasn't given any direction one way or the other from them on the standpoint, should I approve it, be against it, be not against it. Honestly, I think it's just having someone on the rep here to be able to pass on information, is fine. So, but the thing about it is that there's going to be a huge turnover shortly with MLIAC as well. A lot of our positions are up this June, I think. So I haven't decided if I'm going to re-up. Jason has been talking about wanting to get re-involved with stuff. So he's on the ropes whether I ask him to do MLIAC or whether he decides to join the MAGIP board again. So we're waiting to see. But as far as I'm, from my representation, my side of things, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's others who probably have a bigger voice that have more pros and cons of it being a voting member versus a non-voting member. I think there's others, other folks have stronger feelings about that probably than I do. I mean, whether I vote or not, I'm still here listening and giving my opinion. So, and I feel it'd be the same for any other person who's coming in and representing. So.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It just happened just when this gentleman and I started talking about some address in question. I'm like, well, we're talking about MLIAC, and I'm like, oh crap, they're gonna call on me, and I'm muted. So.
Well, appreciate you chiming in there, and
thank you, Eric.
Yep, I think we can we can table this for later, but something to keep note of because it was brought up and moved kind of towards the center here. A couple other interesting ones that garnered some discussion. The COVID one. A big question was when will we be comfortable meeting in person again? And there was a mixed bag of comments. Some people are comfortable now, some not so much. But I think really the best route is the CDC recommendations, and keep following suit with that. I don't know if folks are going to start requesting meetup funds and things of that nature. And how do we approach that if someone wants to have a meetup here in the next couple months? Is there anything that we need to do? Do we need to ask them how many people they see having there? And are we taking on any risk? I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions that I may be overthinking, but I think taking a look at their guidelines is going to be important as we navigate these next few months.
I think as long as we offer a virtual option for a meetup. that's in person, I think we'll be okay.
I think it's going to depend on when and where, and I mean, because if it's something that's outside would be different than if it's something inside. If it's some of the smaller counties where they have no cases versus Gallatin County, then I think I don't know that if we want to just set like a blanket policy on it, or that would be very flexible, or if we leave it up to the people at the time, to do it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. Yeah, just something we'll need to, I don't think we've gotten any requests for like brewery money however that used to be. Or if we, I don't know. But we do have some in-person stuff potentially. I mean, we have the 2022 retreat coming up, and I suppose we'll just have to take it 1 week, 1 month at a time. Another one that kind of stood out to me was this make financial reports visible to membership. I feel like that's a low-hanging fruit where we can, just share that in a, I don't know if it's a report or I guess if what's the board's comfort level, how much, Jeremy, I may be wrong, but I think they can view the budget on our website right now, but is that, or at least pieces of it?
Yeah, when we approve the budget, they should be able to. I don't know if they can see the drafts now that I think about it, but the final approved budget is visible and transparent, as well as disclosure of what we have in the bank accounts currently.
Yeah.
That's so kind of vague too. Do they want like the annual budget, or do they want like the monthly reports?
Yeah, it's a good question.
What are they asking for there?
And both of those are entirely completely possible in really any format they would want. But then again, I'm not sure how in depth or thorough that request is asking.
I mean, maybe it's just, I don't know if we've sent out emails in the past when the budget's been approved. I mean, maybe we just do that, just the annual, just say, hey, everybody, here's the budget for 2021.
It might be good to have the budget and then also the financial performance. I don't know if all the idiosyncrasies of those things would be necessary, but at least this is what we plan to do. This is what we actually are doing right now. Maybe those two.
Since it's part of the public meeting, I think any documents that are going to be at the meeting should be posted on the website.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Megan. I agree with that as well, too. I mean, they already exist, and agreed they should be transparent.
I can just post them next to the, I can just post them next to the minutes. If we have a little monthly report, just a one-pager.
Yeah, I think that'd be, I mean, is that going to add a lot of work for the treasurer, Jeremy?
I don't think it would be too much, honestly. I create the stuff for the board anyway, or at least the core president, vice president, treasurer. I could just as easily put that in some sort of short memo.
It'd be interesting if we posted it on the website, if we could see how many hits it was getting. Kind of keep an eye on that, see if anybody's actually looking at it or not.
Yeah, honestly.
Well, they just like the idea of having it there is the main thing. If I ever want to look at it, I can.
Right.
And it is there. Yeah, I mean the annual budget final is to a certain degree.
I don't think we have anything to hide.
No, not at all. We have actually quite a bit to be happy about, if anything.
Well, I'll shoot the link over to the PDF on the summit. I have it on Drive. It's under Summits, board documents, Summits. from our little exercise. Thank you, everyone, for participating. This GIS best practices was something that came up at the MLAC meeting, and I think it's still really preliminary, and it's just probably going to take us staying engaged with MLAC, but they want to revamp that. They're also, the NGS is partnering with Marls for a datum update in 2024. So there's a lot of cool things happening, or big things happening with GIS best practices here in the next couple of years. Be good to have MAGIP involved any way we can. And Aaron, like I said, Aaron extended that invite to us as a board or as a member or as an organization. So does anybody have any thoughts on how to approach that, how to work with MLAC best?
I think it would be good to work with them. I mean, I think it'd be a good opportunity for us to go back to the membership and extend that branch to them, because there's a lot of good, capable members out there that have knowledge and best practices and what we should be recommending to our users. So I think it'd be a very valuable exercise to go through with the council and the rest of our membership.
Are they going to form like a committee, or do they know what they want to do yet, or how they want to do it?
I don't necessarily know if it's come that far. They just expressed having that partnership with MAGIP and Marls to revamp it. I mean, it seems like it would make sense to have some sort of committee. I don't know if it's even worth having a subcommittee on here, or not a subcommittee, but this probably maybe falls under
ad hoc or something.
Yeah.
I did participate in some of those NGS discussions a couple years back, and then they had some turnover at the federal level, and I stopped getting invites to the meetings. I'm not really sure what happened there. It wouldn't hurt for us to get back involved. When I was doing it, it was maybe a little early for MAGIP because they were just collecting control points for the new datum. And since we aren't really surveyors, we didn't have much input there, but I'm not sure where it's at now. I don't know if I have time to kind of pick that back up, but just to kind of give some background there, that we did attempt to work with NGS for a little while, and it didn't really go far.
Well, I can reach out to Aaron and see if there's some initial steps that we can take. Otherwise, I think it's good to get the thought process rolling on it. If any of you have ideas or thoughts on it as we move forward, please let me know. I think the next MLAC meeting is May 12th. So
yeah, I can pay attention to that. I don't know. I really don't recall a big discussion during MLAC. I think it came up, but I don't remember there being any action items that came out of it.
Yeah, it's just some discussion. So really preliminary, but
yeah, I think it's something we probably should have a conversation with Aaron, just get on the same page with the council. But we probably should gauge the membership, because I think there would be some involvement throughout. So.
Did everybody just hear me drinking there? Was that?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Is it something good?
Whiskey? No. I'm sorry. That was probably gross. I'm tired.
Enough to share with everybody.
It's just water. It's nothing fun. Anything else on Best Practices? This next bullet item was something that came up during the local government discussion panel that Jeff was proctoring. A local government group. I don't have a whole lot of details on. Does somebody else, if it's Jeff, I think Steve, you might have been involved in those convos. Does anybody want to give a?
Yeah. So this is Steve. Yeah, so this was a pretty popular thing. I heard back from a lot of folks and got a lot of feedback saying that there's a strong desire for kind of a local government support group, working group, something, commiseration sessions. And so I'm in the process, I'm going to schedule probably a member development committee meeting next week and maybe actually get a committee put together and see if we can't have some folks kind of take the lead on it. I spoke with Janet Esri. She was real supportive and offered any support Esri could provide to initiate it and keep it going. And so I guess for my end, just maybe keep a lookout for that invite for a meeting next week and kind of maybe start getting some action items and get it organized.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Steve. I think having a collection of folks to help run this, I don't think it has to necessarily fall under the MAGIP blanket. But I mean, just having kind of a group to organize it and keep it going. I think that's always been kind of the hard part is, keeping that engine rolling.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking if we can kind of house it under the member development committee, maybe they aren't running it, but they're kind of help design it and at least, someone people can approach to discuss it with. I think there will need to be some sort of centralized person. And that's, I think, where MAGIP's role is. But I agree. I don't think we should be the ones putting it all together and organizing it.
Yeah, I know the state library is interested, including myself, but yeah, Aaron did express interest in the state library's role in this. But yeah, I mean, up and down from MAGIP to Esri to, local governments, I think we can form a pretty good team, and MAGIP just kind of be there to share resources and offer our support in the way we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, having people like Michael involved, since he does work with so many of the local governments already, I think it would be great to have the state involved in that.
Maybe we can come up with some topic ideas to kind of get things going, at a committee meeting, and then sort of roll with it. Just planting a seed, Yeah,
I think getting topics and people and roles kind of outlined out would be great, and try and do it sooner than later, just so we can kind of carry some of the momentum from the conference.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I like the idea of having that member development committee take a look at that. Sounds like a good first step. Speaking of committees, I guess, is there anything else on the local government support group? Next item was this boost for our committees. This is something Jeff brought up, and I really agree with him here. I just don't know what it looks like. Since the, even with the great support that Full Scope has provided with our conference planning, since we went to that annual conference framework, between that and our board meetings, it seems like it's somewhat all-consuming for the board to take on. There's been a serious decrease in some of the other committees outside of conference activity. In my mind, it's pretty understandable. I know everybody's really busy, and a lot of this time that everyone on the call is giving is secondary to our primary work responsibilities, and it's hard to find time for all that. So Jeff proposed, and Jeff, please feel free to chime in here too, and is maybe we start talking about reducing the number of board meetings we're having and kind of make room for the member development committee, the technical committee, the conference planning. What are folks' thoughts on that? And Jeff, I guess before that, Jeff, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, you mainly covered it. I you know, talking with folks too, and I know Jenny could probably contest to this. The board used to meet quarterly, and I know we've had a lot more business on the agenda as we're moving forward. But I think though, like just building up the people that are involved in MAGIP, and that's I think that really I think it would in those cases too be easier to recruit because you already planted those seeds within our committees. I mean, that's how I got involved in the board. I started with conference planning and then kind of worked up, you know, and I don't think a ton of people, you know, sign up to be on the board to all they do is conference plan. So, and there's just so much more that we can offer our members, you know, getting involved in or leading other working groups, you know, with the best practices, you know, our support with local governments. I mean, salary survey, obviously, JSP, the scholarships. There's so much more we can do, and I know he does a really good job with his education committee. So I guess I'll end with that. I'm curious what other people's thoughts are. You know, meeting less. You know, if it's quarterly, that's fine. But then putting more emphasis within our committees to kind of that will spin more of the board decisions.
I think we have a hard time getting through what we need to get through in the time that we've had as meeting monthly.
But some of it doesn't change that much month to month.
Yeah.
I almost feel like we could make some of the decisions using SurveyMonkey or whatever in between. And, you know, I'd certainly like to spend more time on things like the local government group.
Yep.
Yeah. And maybe next year we'll have a better president who could move through the agenda a little bit quicker.
Don't put that on you.
I don't think that's a problem. I really don't. I just think that we have a lot of things to discuss. I mean, you look at this agenda and the things that are coming down the pike. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, and I guess the one thing is the board is kind of, you know, it feels like we've taken on, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but if we're able to foster these committees, maybe these agendas aren't so detailed. Like, you know, the local government group, maybe the member development committee is, you know, takes that and runs with it, and it's just a quick blurb during the.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like the content within committees kind of drive the board decisions and what the board talks about quarterly. Like we're almost acting, you know, on a monthly basis, all the committees together. I don't think that's necessary, to be honest with you. When you can have the tech group talking more of the technical stuff, you got the member development talking more professional development and member things, education committee, and so on down the line. You know, and there's obviously no reason for we can't cross over and be involved in those committees, but you almost kind of have more of a focused approach that way, and it's kind of a two-tiered instead of just all on the board.
In my limited experience on the board so far, Jeff, is the problem is kind of those committees are made up of us already.
Yeah, I know.
And so, yeah, I think it's kind of, that's where it's kind of evolved over time. But no, I agree. If we could get actual kind of independent committees with some more participation, that's a great idea. But I think that's been the challenge in the past.
Maybe if we had fewer board meetings, the committee leads could have more time to develop their committees.
That's another point that I brought up with Michael too. Is I think it would free up a lot of time too.
Yeah, and you have so many of these people. Like when I talk to people about becoming a board member, they're like, I just don't want to commit to that. This is kind of that in between.
Yep.
To where you can maybe persuade some of those people. I mean, that's how I initially got connected to MAGIP. I was just a tech committee member for about a year, and it maybe would give us kind of a garden of sorts to cultivate new board members in a much more sustainable manner. It's just
what about,
I know.
What about every other month? Is that too confusing?
Bi-monthly. It's kind of the in between.
What if we just took 1 month off and see how it goes?
Yeah, well, that's another thing. There's not, other than ramping up for the next year's conference and getting things like the hotel and those long-term things figured out, you could take the summer off. Everybody's busy during the summer, and
I don't necessarily know if we want to go like dark completely. I mean, it's definitely yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to oversee the finances if there's anything happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's certainly a lot of things the closer we get to GeoCon, just before and after, that I think it'd be not wise to go more than a month without speaking, more or less.
We got some interesting opinions here. Well, I don't think, I mean, I hate to table another item here, but I currently have on the website all these board meetings posted. And then, my term as president ends. It might be a good time that maybe we can, if we do want to make a transition. I'm not trying to pass the buck here, Jeff, because I do like this idea. I mean, just because I have it posted to the website doesn't mean we have to have the board meetings as structured as they are here, but
well, we could do it, I guess, over email, and maybe I'll just throw up a Word doc in Google Drive, and we just start outlining pros and cons. I mean, I can list several pros right now. So, and I think it would be wise to get everyone's opinion on this, and maybe we can come to some sort of resolution by June, whether or not we want to start meeting every other month or quarterly. So
I think that's a good way to start it. I agree. Get ideas down, and then we'll have something to discuss the next meeting or two.
Yeah, let people think about it a little bit more. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we need to vote on it today. But it's a good talking point. Good idea. Good discussion. Both ways. This was another one we just wanted to. It came up obviously in the summit. We have the retreat to think about now. We may want to start. I think last year we had surveys. I think I did a survey and it changed. It changed. Like we were planning on having an in-person retreat, and then things got really bad, so we didn't.
Summer,
and, yeah, and we had some surveys going. Does anybody have any thoughts that they want to talk about on this, like meeting in person, for instance, at the retreat, or I know it's tumultuous how this is changing, but we can always just take it how we did last year, and just see. I'm getting. Not that anyone else needs to share this, but I had my first vaccine I did the Moderna shot a couple weeks ago, and I have my second one here next week. And that's not a green light to have a huge party, but at some point we'll want to discuss in more detail what, and again, the CDC guidelines are going to be a good measure there. We'll have to just take a look at that and see what they recommend for in-person gatherings, and just kind of take it one step at a time. Unless, does anybody else have anything on that?
I think this kind of rolls into your last discussion point. It's going to depend on how often you have meetings, when you have meetings.
Oh yeah.
That sort of thing. And yes, I would say CDC guidance, and we had the option before where people could listen in or whatever. We've got the Zoom platform. You know, it makes sense to me not to travel for the monthly meetings or whatever, but the quarterly ones where you've got to have a little more time and a little more, you know, for discussion and that sort of thing. The day long ones, maybe so.
Yeah.
You're talking about the MAGIP board getting together in terms of times. You know, honestly, I think at this point in time, and you know, I don't have a problem meeting with people. I've had meetings, you know, people sit at tables and you have masks on and that type of thing. And like you, I'll have my second shot on Friday of this week. You know, but on the flip side of that coin is what we've learned this past year is that we can be successful with Zoom meetings, with team meetings. And so, I mean, I've sat in on MLIAC meetings that lasted the whole, you know, from 10 until 3 o'clock. And so, is it painful? Yes, but you know, in the same token, you know, so you accomplish it. I'm not. I can go either way. I don't miss traveling. You know, I don't miss that. I do miss the networking at conferences, and I think if for that side of things, I think what we're going to see there is if people. I mean, Esri is going virtual in July, and so I'll be curious to see how conferences start rolling out next year. If we see people starting to say we're doing it in person again, that type of thing. Although, you know, the MAGIP, the Big Sky is kind of on the front end of conference season, so we may be the leader, either pro or con, to be honest, when it comes down to it. I think right now, Northwest GIS, I haven't even looked at their agenda, but I think they're still going virtual this year. I don't know off the top of my head because they're a fall conference.
I think they wanted to do an in-person one, but that was back last October though. But yeah, be curious to get an update from them. Maybe I'll reach out to them.
I thought they were going to use Hoover.
Notices about stuff because I presented last year, so I'm just trying to see. Let me just see.
This may be a thing that's up to employers as well, as whether they'll let their employees travel or not yet.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that too.
Ours hasn't been lifted here,
yeah,
as far as I know. So
2021 conference, October 25 through 28, 2021 is virtual. So they've already
okay
according to their website. So I think you know, there's a lot of factors that come into play for all this, and it's going to be, you know, if you can obviously you can have an in-person, but then provide a phone number or a call-in. It's no different than MLIAC meetings before the pandemic. They were all in person, but offered a call-in number.
Yeah, I think we definitely do that for the board stuff for sure. It's just I don't think we have the resources to do a hybrid conference, and we're getting put in the cart.
Oh yeah, you're talking hybrid conference. Yeah, I think with the conference, it's going to have to be an up or down, you know, virtual or in person. Hybrid would be I think that could get messy, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. All right.
But on the other hand, you know, I got my first shot and I sunk myself into to the pit of germs by flying on a plane and then hanging and wandering around Las Vegas for spring break. So the fact that I'm still upright and breathing is a minor miracle. And with my second dose, I'm already scheduled to fly out to Wisconsin for the 4th of July. So I'm either part of the problem or part of the solution. Your call. So.
If you're talking about the board retreat, what would be the timing on that?
Well, it's kind of fluctuated.
Yeah.
Last year it was September, I believe.
Because we couldn't meet in June. Right? Is it usually June though?
It has traditionally been in the fall, but they haven't been having retreats all that long either. I'll start it with that. But I tried it in June because it was right after the election, and when I first got on the board, it was from June when I was elected until September or October before we had the retreat. And it was during that time I was just kind of sitting there thinking, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? What's my position? That sort of thing.
Right.
And so as long as we could do a good orientation, which I also made part of that retreat, I guess, you know, and the other thing is you come up with your work plan and all that stuff, and you've got members that are only on the board, a lot of them possibly for 2 years. The terms are only 2 years. So if you figure that you've already used up, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 months of that before they even get started, or that you come up with the work plan, that was kind of my thought behind having it in June, right after people were elected, because then you could have the orientation and kind of have a team building thing right off the bat and that sort of thing. That was the thought behind that.
Yeah, and we had the orientation separate last year just because we kind of had to cancel or postpone the retreat. So we had a virtual orientation session, which is definitely not as good as the in-person.
If we did do June again, we would probably, or July, it would probably be a good idea to start planning for it here pretty soon. Probably by next meeting, we'd want to know an idea of, are people interested? Are they willing? Can they go? It might be a good idea.
And you may have,
between then to set up.
You may have new board members that have opinions about that as well.
That's a good point, actually. That's a really good point.
Yeah, because there'll be potentially five. I mean, if
potentially
folks
a few
stick on. That's why. Gosh, that makes it tough. I don't know. I feel like with not knowing the situation, I mean, as far as being able to, or the prudence, or I don't know what word I'm looking for, responsibility of meeting in person or planning a meeting in person in June with people we don't even know yet. Gosh, it may make sense to just look at the fall again and maybe having a virtual orientation for the new members, like pretty much right after they get in.
I'm going to throw this out there as a backup thought about meeting. The other thing about meeting monthly, especially as long as you are meeting remotely, it just kind of is a monthly check-in type thing to keep people engaged and not let it go too long.
So is everybody leaning? I mean, do we just, it kind of sounds like just having a tentative plan for this. I mean, Jeff, did you have thoughts on what were you thinking for the retreat as far as timing? Did you have any strong?
I initially thought the fall. I mean, I like Jenny's plan, you know, going right at June. It makes it tough, especially now that all of our positions are elected. that we have 5 going out 1 year and 3 going out the next year. Particularly the one on the 5, that's half the board essentially. And I mean, it makes date selection tough when you don't have them involved in the date selection process. So you have that working against you. And then, like Michael said, we don't even know these people yet. I mean, it could just be the same group of us, but there might be a few different. I mean, we're guaranteed one new one. I can, unless Jenny wants to be vice president next year.
Maybe she'll run for an at-large. Come on, Jenny.
So I mean, I can send out a survey to all of you, but I would probably want to wait or so, and then get going on planning it for the fall. I don't know if we'll see an uptick of cases like we did last summer, but it's possible. Just because more people are going to be out and about, more gatherings. I think that's going to be the true test, is probably going into Memorial Weekend. What's it at? So
yeah, that'll be an interesting metric. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. Just the summers fill up so fast for everybody. I mean, even taking that into account, someone gets elected and then we do the planning. It's like, well, I'm doing stuff every weekend in June or July. Not actually, but I mean, some people could be. All right. I think that's Jeff mentioned he'd send out a survey. I think that sounds like a good transition point. Jenny, I know this student colloquium is in like a couple days. Is there anything?
I don't know if it is. I actually kind of forgot about it. I've got the checks here and everything. I haven't heard a word.
Okay.
So I just emailed them to see if it was even still a thing. I don't know if it is.
Okay.
Because it's, typically a bunch of people in a room. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing up there.
Okay. We'll just move on. This question came up, this grant application timelines came up actually at the MLIAC meeting. There was Rob, I think you joined us.
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, there was a question about extending the application periods, and I didn't know about the feasibility of that because I believe there was 3 total applicants between everything. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. There were 2 scholarship applications and 1 grant application. I don't think that extending the scholarship deadline would change anything. And maybe same with the grants. Maybe there's a different time of year where they could be announced, especially the grant applications. That would be good to get some feedback from teachers. Is there a time of year where they would be more apt to put an application together? So listen, while we're on that topic, I would like, I've been wanting to, we had the scholarship and grant announcements ready to go at the conference, but I never did see like a good time to make that announcement. So do I have your permission to contact the people and let them know that, send them their award letters? Can I go ahead and do that?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and maybe send something out to the listserv.
Yeah, and put it on the website.
Yes, so I have an announcement to give to Megan to put onto the website and also to use for an announcement on the listserv. I would like to contact the people first. You know, let them know before the rest of the world knows.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd say go for it.
Cool. I will get those out today. So what I heard in general, and Michael, I remember you sharing that email with me from I think it was Gina, about extending the deadlines and doing something else.
Thought it was just extending.
Yeah, and at that point, I would have said no as well. I heard that there was just terrible burnout this year from everybody.
I was just going to mention that, Rob, because you've not had issues with applicants before, have you?
No, but I tell you, in the last 2 years, so just not having that contact, I think that's made a big difference. We had a lot more presence. We had meetups and things of that nature where you're constantly sort of hinting at that. And so that was lacking last year. It was certainly lacking this year. And, that in addition to meeting fatigue, I think people blew it off, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's good. That's good enough for me, Rob. I just wanted to shoot it your way and just get your thoughts. So.
Yeah. I even invited the person whose stuff got returned last year. I even invited him to resubmit, and we would fund his project this year, and he didn't. So that was that's telling. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Rob. That makes total sense. It's just been an odd year, and we can respond to Gina and just tell her that. And you mentioned that during the the council meeting too. So thank you for addressing it.
No, not at all. I mean, we like to get comments from extra. So if I may, I have one more thing I would like to share about the education grant.
Please.
Well, if there's a time later, just let me know, and I'd be happy to do that.
We do have the standing reports, the committee reports coming up here probably in the next few minutes.
I will defer until then.
Okay. Jeff did share this colloquium agenda, all virtual. Anything that I know we were supporting some prizes, but was there anything else we were going to be doing for this? I can't remember.
Judging the posters for them.
Judging the posters, yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't heard anything in months.
Well, I suppose, Jenny, if you need some, I think there was a few of us that said we could judge. Now that I think about it, if they get back to you, let us know.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I've actually scheduled something else for Friday now, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
And actually, I got all the stuff sitting right here, but I kind of forgot about it.
And there's a lot going on this month. I added this SurveyMonkey thing after we were talking, but I don't know if this warrants a board discussion.
I honestly can't find a single thing about it. Like there's mention through SurveyMonkey documentation that there's a removal limit, but it won't tell me what the removal limit is. So
I don't know. Maybe we just if all of a sudden it locks us out, I suppose we don't want that.
Not in the middle of elections.
Yeah, and maybe we need to just assign 2 people that have access to it and everybody else just works through them. And so then we don't have to worry about it. I mean, it's not ideal that we can only have 2 logins. But it is nice that we have all our surveys there from every year, and like the history and consistency has been good. And maybe there's another plan where we can have additional logins. Maybe that's an option.
I like the idea of assigning it to 2 people.
I mean, maybe it's Michelle and
yeah, I nominate Michelle and Jeff.
Jeff, yeah. I mean, I was logged in recently because I was doing the nomination survey, but Michelle could handle the election stuff, and it probably makes sense to have a non-voting member doing all the election stuff anyway.
Yeah. That is a great point.
Yeah, I'll look into it to see if there's like the next plan up and see what it includes. But yeah, I'll look into it for next month, and maybe we can come to some solution.
All right. Let's move into the reports. Unless anybody else, sorry, does anybody else have any new business they want to add to before we move into the reports? Going once.
I don't know where you want to talk about elections. I don't see that on here. Is it, unless it's under upcoming, but I don't see.
Oh boy, elections.
Pulled a sneaky.
They were announced. Nominations are open. Jeff has been doing some great recruitment. I've been trying to talk to Jeff Sprock. What else? Anybody else have any?
Is there any word on how recruitment's going? Like, do we have enough applicants?
Have we received any nominations?
I think just one, and that was Kenny.
Hey.
You guys want back on? Get in there and nominate yourselves.
Yeah, for those. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, the survey technically says 2, but it looked like someone just skipped through all of it. So I talked to Aaron Vaughn about maybe a position, and he had some questions about, what certain things that the open positions do, and then I think another one that Eric mentioned was Jason Danielson. He's either leaning one way of being on the council or MAGIP, so that is potentially a second one. And then like Michael said, Jeffrey Spronk would be a really good candidate too.
Hey Rob, are you interested in continuing the good work that you do?
Yeah, yes I am. So I guess I would nominate myself. Should I get my members of my committee, if they're interested, to nominate me as well?
You only need to be nominated once. You just need to fill out the thing on the website.
Okay. Yeah, I got through there and I was like, shit, I hate writing about myself.
If you want to get somebody else to do it, nominate you, I mean, that's fine.
Well, you have to put in a bio, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
You don't need the bio until the nominations are closed.
I thought you had to submit it with the form, isn't that?
I don't think so. Megan, you made it here.
Yeah,
the bio's on there.
Yeah.
You could just say, instead of typing it in the Survey Monkey, say that you'll be sending it to me.
It's not a required field technically, so.
Okay.
We'll give you a little leeway there, Rob.
I thought I had to make like a pitch, like I've nominated,
that was at the conference and you missed it.
Dollars and.
I mean, you could say how many years of service.
Yeah, right. Tout it.
It can be short, a couple sentences.
And then a picture, and then you send a picture to Megan, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll do. When do they close? I'll probably do it.
Next Monday, I believe.
Okay. I'll have it done before the end of the week.
We probably should send out a reminder.
Yeah, that's a good point. That came up fast.
Yeah.
So Kenny, that's great news. We got Jeremy and Heather too. I mean, you both have been absolutely amazing.
If no one else wants to do it, I'll do it, but I don't want to get in the way of some new person who might want to get in there.
You just got to put your name in the hat there, Heather.
Yeah. Okay.
Let the members decide your fate.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one year there was a few. Yeah, and I didn't even get elected. It was it was just interesting. There's some years it's good to have selection. It's good to have that.
Yeah.
Your bio will make or break you, Rob.
And Jeremy, I mean, you've been amazing. I mean,
yeah, we can't let Jeremy off.
I'd hate to see you go. And I mean, if you want to try something new, there's this VP up here too.
One position at a time, right?
Talk about whoever would be following Jeremy has some big shoes to fill if he decides to let that treasurer position go.
Yeah.
There's been some conversations with folks. I think no matter what happens, I'm sticking around for a bit. There has to be such overlap with something like this, but
yeah.
In either case, we'll make it work and you haven't seen the last of me. We'll put it that way.
I will just say that you guys have done a great job getting this minutes in order and getting all the finances in order, and all of that has been huge.
Yeah.
Because they did there for a while kind of fall into disarray.
Yeah, I feel pretty fortunate that you two were in those positions this last year. Thank you.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, it was a good thing to have some experience in these positions, especially in these non-traditional years that we've had lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
You say these close on Monday or Friday?
Monday.
All right, thanks for bringing that up, Jenny. That really spaced my mind. All right, we're moving along. Treasurer's report, Jeremy. Was there anything else you wanted to add beyond what you discussed earlier? Or?
No, I think I'm sitting good. I think the big thing is if people can take a look at that budget for next meeting, more input we have on it, the better, or the more I was taking a look at it. Otherwise, I'm good today.
Thanks, Jeremy. And Rob, I guess you came on a little late. Jeremy presented walked through the draft budget that he sent out a couple weeks ago, and we don't need to have it approved until July, but I think the push is just to give everybody a chance to look at it over the course of the next month.
Okay. And we came out ahead after the conference. Is that true?
Yes. 13,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It turned out actually pretty well considering the circumstances, for sure.
And that's after we spent an extra, what was it, 2,000 or 2,500 on prizes?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think all things considered, and mentioned here earlier, not only did we find a form that worked out pretty well, but we did pretty well throughout it financially. So I'm very, very happy with how things turned out. Hopefully we don't have to do that again, but we have the model down.
Yeah. I think we're going to have a debriefing meeting, right?
Yeah.
Or did you guys already do
Tomorrow.
that?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, we'll dive into the nitty gritty tomorrow, I think. Thanks, Jeremy. Anybody have any questions for him for the second time, the second report?
Thanks, all. Thanks, Michael.
Rob, what you got?
Okay, well, there's not that much more to add. 2 scholarships, one master's student from geography and one PhD student from the wildlife biology department doing rangeland assessments on public land, or grazing assessments on public lands, and the master students doing changes in vegetation related to climate change in the North Slope of Alaska. So very interesting projects. The one student, I manage another agreement with the university, and the student we're going to give a scholarship to is also being hired to work on that remote sensing agreement. So totally not connected. So it was a real go-getter of a student that's going for the scholarship. So I'm pleased with that. Now, for the education grant, we got an application from the Frenchtown schools, and the committee met. We looked at it. We thought, well, it was the only grant application, so that's good in their favor. But we didn't think it was that great. You know, we liked the idea, but we thought it could be improved upon a little bit, like clarified and made a little bit more certain. You know, okay, these are the things that we're going to do, and timelines and things. They also wanted to purchase a number of GPS units, and you know, we have that trunk with GPS units in there, so we'd like to offer that. And we wrote a long letter making some suggestions as to, you know, what we think they could improve in their application, and give them a month to turn that around and resubmit it. So we start off by saying, we want to work with you. We think this is a pretty good idea. We just like to clean up the application a little bit. We give them some suggestions on what to do, and we offer them a month to do it. So that's what I would be sending out upon your approval. And the other thing we recommend in that letter is that they work with a mentor. So we would like to connect a MAGIP member who would be interested in working with the Frenchtown Middle School on developing their orienteering and geocaching lesson plan. So that's kind of why I'm bringing it to your attention. Number one, we liked it. We want to tell them we want to work with them, but we'd like to see it improved a little bit. And second, we would like to connect them with a MAGIP member to facilitate the success of the project.
Rob, this might already be part of the application process, but presenting at the conference, do you think Frenchtown would be interested, especially with the proximity to Missoula?
Yes, and
okay,
I do believe that we put that in all of the applications.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, that brings me to another point. We had every one of the awardees from last year present at the conference this year. So that's a first for us, and I'm really pleased with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's that, and the other thing that we ask for is a final report of their project, and we have not been doing a good job at collecting those. So I would like to make a push this year to collect those, and then work with Megan to somehow get them onto our website.
That sounds like a great idea.
Upon your approval, I will move ahead with all of those things.
Well, I certainly don't have any objections. It sounds like you're really doing your the committee's doing their due diligence and supporting Frenchtown too. So that sounds like above and beyond.
Okay. How do you suggest we get them in touch with a willing MAGIP member? I was thinking of maybe putting something out on the listserv, but can you think of a better way?
I feel like that's definitely the best place to start, unless we know of, just if anybody knows offhand of folks.
Maybe to Lee Eccles, since she's working over there, and see if she knows anybody or if she would be interested.
Oh, Lee is working at Frenchtown School?
No, she's working in Missoula.
Oh, okay.
I mean, somebody in that area. I don't know if we have any members that are actually in Frenchtown.
And I don't think they need to be. You know, I think just somebody that they can bounce some ideas off of and, you know, make suggestions. Oh man, creeping on the membership.
There's a member map somewhere.
Or you could log in and actually look at the member directory and search for Missoula and actually see who the members are. But I agree with you, Rob, that it doesn't have to be somebody in Missoula.
Right.
I like the idea of sending it out to the list.
Yeah.
But maybe, are you thinking it should be a professional, or do you think it should be somebody tied to the education community too?
You know, to me, it would seem that if someone were, you know, the interest in working with the school is probably the biggest qualification, right? And if you're at all involved in the GIS profession, I think you probably have some input to the school that they would not be familiar with. Just helping them navigate, you know, the world of different apps that are out there, and, you know, using the technology, or, you know, just a technical, a person that could provide some technical input. Is what I was hoping for.
Yeah, I think the listserv.
Not that this matters a whole lot, but was it a teacher that submitted it? Instructor?
It was the principal.
Okay.
So, would we have a way? 31 in Missoula. Okay. So who should write that announcement? Should I be writing that? Yeah. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Who else, right?
You've got all the information.
Yeah, and I think it'd be great if you included like what you were thinking they would provide, so they have like a little framework for
right. Yeah.
what they'd be expected to do.
Right. Must have dancing and singing experience.
And a sense of humor.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Those are the main issues I wanted to share with you.
Thanks, Rob. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, we lost Steve earlier. Jeff, is there anything that you wanted to mention on member development? He had some good stuff earlier on the local government thing, and it sounded like a meeting was forthcoming. So a lot of good stuff there, but anything else?
But the only thing I'll add is the salary survey. I've actually yet to fill it out myself, so I'm one of those culprits. But remember to fill out the survey. I think we have 90 some responses, and I've sent it out twice. So I'll send it out probably a few more times. So it doesn't close until May, so got plenty of time. So, but feel free to share it with your colleagues that may not be as active members in MAGIP. So.
Thanks, Jeff, for bringing that up. That's a good point. I need to fill it out too.
Maybe after you see the email the third or fourth time, maybe you'll click on the link, right?
Yes. Phoebe, I feel like you deserve a break. I don't even. Is there anything?
Is she on the call?
I think she was earlier.
I'm here.
Tremendous job at the conference.
Thank you, Phoebe.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was only part of it, so thanks to everyone.
You're the tip of the spear.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Yeah, I feel like we'll cover some good content tomorrow. I need to kind of see where we're at. I just got back from the field today, actually, so I kind of have had a break from the virtual world.
There you go.
And yeah, Michael, thanks for that cool little sticky note board idea with the summit meeting. I think that will be really helpful for the feedback for the conference, and we can kind of cover some of those ideas. So
yeah, I'll make sure to get that out to everybody then here after we're done.
Awesome.
The videos were awesome too, Phoebe. Thanks for putting those together. That was really cool. Being able to have that opportunity to talk to the whole membership like that, or at least the folks who were in the conference.
Yeah, no problem. I should check the YouTube views, see if we're gonna all be stars.
Yeah.
I was jealous of where you filmed yours on the Blackfoot, so
yeah.
Props on doing that there, Phoebe.
Oh yeah. I only recorded it like 4 times.
I would have been there. I would have been there all afternoon, trying to record it. So I mean, I was already at my computer long enough to record it. So
I loved your dog coming in every now and then in the videos.
Yeah, that's actually my roommate's dog. I mean, my housemate's dog, and but he's sometimes, I pretend that he's mine sometimes.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything else to share with the board, but we can dive into it tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Thanks, Phoebe.
All right.
Kenny, anything? I think Kenny's still here. Yep. Also, you did a great job workshops too. You deserve a break too. If you don't want to.
I think he's trying to speak. Kenny.
He's unmuted.
Oh, no, it was, how about now?
Yep, perfect.
Yep.
All right. No, I hit the thing with my knee. Sorry. I was saying, yeah, I'm on vacation this week, so sorry for being a little quiet. Yeah, I think the workshops this time, it was both easy and difficult. Obviously difficult because of the COVID circumstance, and easy because we had a great pool of workshops to start from for last year, which will make it interesting now that this will be new workshops, but in the same spot. But hopefully that means we can get like the drone instruction and drone photography courses back, and similar things. I will try and get a technical committee meeting going in May. I have some ideas. I want to start using the Discord for more stuff. I deliberately didn't use it during the conference because I didn't want to confuse it with the conference platform, have to check another spot for chatting and stuff. But I think it's a great between conference tool, and hopefully we can get some value out of it. We did have briefly one person asking for a refund for a workshop from last year when we canceled, but it turns out that refund was already processed and they just didn't realize it. So Michelle stepped up and provided the documentation on it. Other than that, we had refunds on the mine because Melissa Hart had been concerned that since they had a license issue for some of the students in her workshop, that there might be some asking for refunds, but so far that's not the case. So I think she was just being cautious. Yeah, that's about it for my report. Thanks.
Hey, Kenny, did you happen to take a look at the Idaho's workshop list? They got some unique workshops. I'll commend them for.
Is it in the chat? Did you put the link?
I can right now.
Yeah, no, I'll take a look at it. That's a good idea.
I'm actually signing up for one that's about the 2020 datum.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and obviously we need to, farm out the discussion widely about what kind of workshops people want to see at Big Sky GeoCon.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it was just easy to take the 2020 content, so I definitely don't want to, take that away from it. But yeah, I think well, because Michael and I might meet with the president of EURISA after their conference to kind of share some lessons learned from this virtual conferences that they're putting on in the coming weeks, and then we just went through it. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to hear what they have to say about their workshops, and so.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I think any sort of inspiration we can take from other states, other conferences, we absolutely should. But yeah, I definitely want to approach the Missoula, location-specific folks and get them on board for next year.
Yeah, and hopefully that drone one will happen next year too, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah, and like I did communicate with her. I'm blanking on her name. Vacation, sorry. But yeah, like she wanted to give it, but the spring was full and doing it virtually versus in person didn't really make sense. And I think if we reach out early to these people, we can kind of lock those in and then add in some interesting new ones.
Yeah, I know Keith Weber has been part of our conference in the past. I don't know if we've ever had any conversations since we've gone to the annual conference of potentially bringing him back. Because I know he's done some pretty good workshop in the past. He's doing like a communicating with maps one at the Idaho one.
Cool.
I've actually been in contact with him every now and then, just to kind of keep him in the loop and see if he would present.
Yeah, I like his tech talks that he does monthly. He does a really nice job with that.
Do we have?
Yeah, I just listened to one of those yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Remind me, do we have the dates locked down for the next Big Sky GeoCon?
Yeah, we do.
I believe we do.
A contract is been signed.
Can someone tell us that real quick?
Yep.
Thank you.
Gosh, I don't like how this thing blocks I'm so inept.
And thanks for the fun trivia night, by the way, on a personal note.
Yeah, thanks for participating, Kenny. You were one of the winners.
That was fun.
Trivia is serious business.
I believe it's April 4th through the 9th, but I'd be curious if anyone can come up with.
It would be probably the 4th through the 7th or 8th.
Yeah, 4th through the 7th, because I set up a vacation for that week, and then I
that makes sense.
Conference, and I was like, wait a minute, I got to wait a week to go on vacation.
Defined.
Okay.
2020.
Well, and like I'm sure Eric Pimpler will want to offer something again, and
yeah, 4th through the 7th. Yeah,
I'll make sure he saves the date for us. He seemed very happy. He had a ton of students, so we cut him a big fat check.
How many people were in his workshop?
I think it was 11 for the first one and like 22 for the second one. So
yeah, that's
I was
good.
Pleased to see all the DNRC people. There were quite a lot of them, and I don't know that that's happened before. Signed up for the conference in general.
Oh, in general, yeah,
yeah, for the workshops as well.
You can probably thank Brian Collins for that. I think he's been really hammering home professional development, and I think he's been a pretty big GISP lately as well. I think he's encouraging all of his folks to go after GISP if they haven't already.
And I think I may have recruited a new GISS too.
I'm all done with the report, Michael. Thanks.
Thanks, Kenny. Megan, how goes the web?
Oh, you know, it's great. Oh, so there'll be more election stuff coming. As Rob mentioned, we'll get the grants and scholarship information up there, and that's really all that's going on. If you guys want a space for local government group, can do that. We used to have a section for best practices, mainly in the technical committee group, but we could do something under resources for that too. But yeah, just let me know if you need anything.
Thank you, Megan. Yeah, I remember I looked at the best practices on here one time. This was a long time ago, like before.
Yeah, they've been taken down.
Yeah, I think Curtis brought it up in his technical committee several years ago, and they're outdated. So I think that was the decision why they got taken down. So
and he brought up a good point. I remember about like, should we even be involved with it because so many organizations, do their own thing, and so I think that was a good decision to take it down. But
we got wrapped around the axle pretty quickly on that discussion, as I recall.
Yeah.
Yep.
The website looks amazing. Thank you, Megan, for keeping this so up to date. Really appreciate it. Eric, is there anything MLAC related you wanted to?
Timing is perfect. I'm in and out with customers here today, this afternoon. It's been one of those afternoons, interestingly enough. MLAC, let's see, the last meeting was primarily our action item there was the grant funding. They didn't have a lot of grants this past. I think some of the grant submittals were lower than the past. So if I recall, we voted and every one of them was getting full funding or close to full funding. So let's see, what other things went on? Some funding status for some other elements. I think the big thing, the grant was the biggest thing on the agenda. There's the two other items actually, and I don't know if you guys, I don't think you guys get those emails. I should probably forward them to the MAGIP board. But Jenny was thrilled that the two that were the big ticket items for the state library were both signed. So House Bill 49 and House Bill 50 were both signed and by the governor. And so those are the ones that I think they were the one. I don't remember which one is which, but the one raises the amount for filings. And so on a document filing, the local governments are going to get I think another quarter, an additional quarter, so 50 cents, I think. And Jeff, you nod your head yes if you recall that.
Yeah, that's House Bill 49.
That was 49. Okay, and so the filing fee is going to go up, and that'll then add out a little bit more money to local government collection, as well as what the state gets for the MLAC funding. And then the other one is, I think that was the House Bill 50 was the next gen one.
Yep.
And that's where they're getting some next gen, they're getting some 911 funds over to the state library to be used to get all the base layers, to do a study and get all the work to get the layers up to date for next gen 911, if I recall.
Yeah, well, and it'll serve as a kind of a statewide coordinator position too,
Yeah,
potentially,
that's
to
right.
kind of just get that next gen statewide plan kind of all synchronized. So I mean, because that is one of my concerns, is I think there's just counties that are just going in different directions. I mean, it just seems like the state of Montana is not all on the same page right now. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be good funding.
That'll be good. Yeah. So yeah.
Great news.
I don't know, Jeff, if you recall anything from the meeting that you.
Well, I wasn't at the meeting, but the off cycle, the PLSS off cycle grants. I think Aaron's.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That was what they were. Since we had the additional funds from the lack of, from the low, I hate to say low interest, but we didn't use as much as they budgeted in terms of grant money. And so they're going to look at that to try and clean up and get some more survey control and work on PLSS.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of a two-pronged approach. I think I think it's upwards of $70,000 that they'll potentially fund off this off-cycle PLSS grant opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't think they've set like a deadline of whatnot. I'm sure it's going to be early summer. But with whatever is remaining left over, it's going to go towards a training program, either grant writing or other things that the state can offer to the GIS community. So.
Okay.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other questions for him? Michelle did drop off a little bit ago. Does anybody have anything that we would like to relay to her? Or?
I just have a quick question. Is her contract coming up for renewal this July?
I think it is.
I think so too.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, 19 to 21, or yeah. So we can start engaging her on that. I guess since she's not on the call, I mean, I think it's been. I think there were some concerns financially last year, being able to sustain an admin and conference planner. But does anybody have any thoughts on kind of re-upping this for another 2 years? And you can the thought process rolling now, I guess.
I think that's one of the best things the board ever did was a few years ago. I think it started with the University of Montana group and it's moved more into full scope, but it's one of the best moves the board's ever made.
Yeah, I don't know how we would have gotten through this without that kind of assistance.
Yeah, especially doing an annual conference. I think we need it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, the consistency is so important with board turnover and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a volunteer board, with all of us having our own jobs, to have someone full-time like Michelle at this point, especially with her experience with us specifically as an organization, we can't not have her. She's too good of an asset and a person. Really, honestly, she knows what she's doing. So I would recommend that we keep that going.
I think it's made all of our lives easier.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I worry at times if it's balancing out and averaging out it the way it's supposed to, if her hours are actually, if we're paying her for all her hours, but I keep asking and she keeps saying yes. So
yeah.
Well, to be honest, Jenny, it was the other way around last year. I mean, she'll let us know. I mean, as a consultant, I promise you, she'll let us know if she needs, if she's doing more than what we're paying her for. she's not volunteering. This is something we're paying them for, and you know, everything that we've discussed is well within the confines of this contract. And if not, I mean, she would let us know. So
conversely, has there been any talk with her at all yet?
That was my next question. How do you want to approach this there, Michael?
Well, I think maybe we just need to have a discussion with her, Jeff, and I guess, I mean, we could even have it as a board discussion item probably at the next meeting, to see if as the terms are currently constructed, we've all expressed that you know, she's helped us obviously from a conference planning perspective, and then also an administration perspective, monitoring the email and doing some other things. So
yeah.
Well, we could do a discussion with her next month in the hopes of come to something before June's meeting. June, or I guess at the last minute, July's. But
yeah. Well, maybe what I'll do is I'll get an email chain going with her too, and just start get the conversation going, since you know, to see if their fees are, I mean, maybe their general fees are going up or something, and make sure we're aware of that.
Yeah, so in that case, we need to figure out, we need to be clear what we're willing to,
yeah,
you know.
So that figure would be nice to have for the final budget too. So I mean,
Bingo.
I think having that discussion with her prior to us approving the budget would be helpful for our budget sake.
It's a great point.
In 2 years time frame is enough for me to assume that there may be a possibility, and frankly likelihood, that her fees will go up a little bit.
I would intend that they would go up, be honest.
Yeah, 2 years is a long time.
Yeah, there's likely going to be escalation.
That said, I still cannot stress enough, she's known our organization for quite a few years now. I would hate to see starting up with someone new we don't know anything about, if that opportunity had to come to pass.
We're trying to do it ourselves, which I don't think it's an option now.
No.
Like 1 step forward, 3 steps back.
I mean, especially since the success of the conference too. You know, it'd be one thing if we saw the conference not go off as planned, but
well, she's our address now. We have to keep her.
Yeah. I mean, before she was our admin, she planned a couple conferences. I mean, so initially we paid, it was like the $10,000, and then she's really only charging us like $5,000 to do everything else. So, you know, at a minimum, if we, you know, ever did get into a point where we needed to make budget cuts.
Yeah. Do you have a number in mind, Jeremy, that we can afford? You know, that's within a couple of % of what we're currently paying?
I'd probably have to run it a little bit more with our current budget, or the current proposed budget. I know that we had an excess of about $900 sitting in there as it's proposed right now. And her past contract, it was right up at the top. If, say, we were coming to around $900 added to that, that would get us basically balanced even. So that gives you an idea what that would look like. Thank you for zooming in that. So we could cut in other spots to make it work. But I would like to hear what she has to say before we start making those decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this is all assuming, and I haven't heard otherwise, but this is all assuming that she would like to keep us, and I assume that would be the case too. I can't see that likely coming to pass. Did she just decide she's tired of this? I don't know.
That's a good point.
Oh, I think she loves us.
I think so too. I think so too.
We're a lovable group.
Right?
We are.
Yeah, I'll be a little easier on the budget request over this past next couple months, just in case.
Well, I'll shoot her an email just to get her prepared. I mean,
Yeah.
It'd probably be better than putting her on a spot to the board meeting. Like, what are you going to charge us?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like, surprise.
Surprise. Just let her, give her a month to prepare that.
Yeah. You'll give her a chance to talk with Michael too.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. The good thing is she knows our budget. So she knows she can't charge too much.
That's true too. She saw the proposed budget earlier.
Since we're talking about this too, I don't know if you all saw the email chain where HDR proposed on a project for the Montana State Fire Association, which is an organization, Fire Chief Association organization, also administered by Full Scope, McKell primarily. So I went through various discussions with McKell and our legal, and of course I sent it on to you. We did submit a proposal for it. I didn't see any concerns in the email chain from you all, but at a minimum, if we were awarded that contract, I would then be recusing myself from any decisions related to Full Scope moving forward, or resigning my position if there's significant concern from you all in that regard.
I don't think anybody was concerned about that.
So just something that, based on our legal team's review and Full Scope's not flagging any concerns right now, unless HDR is awarded that contract, I wouldn't be doing that unless you all strongly felt one way or the other. But just another heads up. So I mean, does anybody have any thoughts on that since we're talking concerns?
I have no concerns at all.
Nope.
Yeah. I think it's honorable how you went above and beyond, to make that clear. So good job doing that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that too. It's good clarity on both sides. I mean, the legwork that you did to clarify that with your legal team and with Full Scope, that's nice work, Michael.
Thanks.
I hope you get it.
Yeah, we do too. It's pretty cool organization.
I talked with her about that project a couple of years ago. I would have loved to have been able to be in on that project because it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that as a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of ending our quarterly meeting? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well, I wasn't trying to rush things.
Well,
but I am hungry.
I'm pretty fried.
We don't want you to be hangry.
I could write all kinds of nasty things about you in the minutes.
At least we didn't meet right after the conference. I don't know about you guys. I felt Friday was a nice break.
Yes.
I don't remember Friday.
That's true, Jeremy.
All right. Well, let's. I think that's good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Michael.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Have a
Thanks,
good one.
everyone.
Bye.